Good evening, B. Your head is big.
Good evening, M, and you're far.
Yeah, it is what it is. Maybe I'll zoom myself or just cut you out a bit and leave a bit more of myself. I think you could have.
I'm actually.
Sorry, excuse me.
No. Feel free. I was in the middle of the sentence. Do go on.
Yeah, that's awesome. But anyways, why didn't you use the wide uh, mode?
You mean the laptop?
No, I mean no, because like we're using Zoom and it turned your image into a cutout image, you know?
My phone is located, rotated on landscape. I want to say located on
Like
landscape.
this?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a bad phone or something. Look. I'll
It's
show you how it
not a
looks.
bad phone, I assure you.
Yeah, it's a bad phone.
I
Look,
mean, I could. I'm.
you see? Is your head cut you out?
Yeah. I mean, I am cut off, but I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a bad phone, I'm telling you. Anyways, back to business. New year, new topic. And no, I mean we already had the first episode with the silly story cubes. But new year, new topics.
Yeah.
I don't know if people who have listened to us in the past or have watched us in the past know that at some point last year, well, actually, well, at some point last year, we had a change. Actually, at some point the year before, by the end of 2019, there was a big change in Serbia in terms of what we have been calling entrepreneurs. It was a bit of a specific status you could be in as a person and basically work as if you were a company, and you had I can say like some sort of tax benefits. Let's call it like that.
Yeah.
But then and it was great because it allowed a lot of flexibility. It made a lot of sense for a lot of business models, and it was unfortunately also a bit of abused by some, um, by many, of course. When there's something to be abused, many shall absolutely, without any doubt, abused.
Oh,
But anyways, the government decided to stomp on on this particular group of people, but only if you're in IT, because that's that's the cash cow. So at some point, they noticed, oh my God, the export of our IT industry is basically bigger than anything else. so so what can we do to get a piece of that cake? And a piece they
no.
had.
To get water out of a rock.
Well, yeah. Um, so this I guess way of you could use to organize your business and income and pay tax, it just became not viable from one moment. Then I personally had to make a lot of changes, and it has influenced my income. It has influenced, like, out of a sudden, me like I would be a definition of a digital nomad if only I didn't have family, and you know I I'd literally be the guy traveling, left and right and working from anywhere. But right now, I have a company, and I'm a director of that company, and I have to sign ridiculous papers. I have to pay ridiculous tax things like the eco tax. I have to pay an eco tax as if me, a guy typing on his keyboard all day long and using a trackpad, as if I'm creating like some sort of, I have negative impact on the environment.
I have to comment on Ecotex. I have there has been a lot of talk about the stimulus package in the United States, we had a stimulus package too.
Yeah,
a year
same.
ago, every citizen of the United crumbling tower of Serbia got 100 euros. Clapping sounds, which
I
is
think
just
at that point, it was about around 110 or 120 bucks.
yeah. So it's a bit over 100 bucks. And
US.
yes, yeah. So it was like free money, but if you know anything about economics, it's never free. And as a friend of mine has said, everything that the state gives to you, it will reclaim through the electricity bill or through the utilities bill. And lo
Absolutely.
and behold, they introduced the eco tax.
No, but also the electricity bill,
No, of course. They
as
increased the
expected.
electricity.
As
Yeah,
expected.
they increased the electricity bill, the utility bill, the standard. But there was something new, something unexpected, something controversial. They introduced the eco tax, which is a tax that you as a pollutant pay, you as a firm. So this is not something that individuals pay, or as we would, these are only legal persons pay, depending on how much they pollute. And there are three categories of these. And a different friend of mine was looking at this, and she said, okay, I have seen the first category, and it utilizes things like basin, like sulfates, like oil spills, and so on. So that means that if you have a firm in Serbia, the odds are that you fall into the third category, that is people who teach foreign languages, people who make videos for
But
YouTube.
they breathe the air,
No.
You know?
That friend of mine, Sonia, she had a comment. Well, they're charging me for charging my phone at the language school. So she was really annoyed with it, and I too, and everybody else.
But there's
But
more. But there's
I'm not.
more.
Oh, there's always no. This is the endless subject. The initial idea for this episode was freelancing, but I think we should simply go with eco tax. Yeah, no, seriously. And now, what's the problem with the eco tax?
Many,
First of all,
but yeah.
okay, everybody knows that Serbian rivers are horribly polluted. Like they're filled with plastic, especially plastic bags. And there's this firm that specializes into collecting this river waste and cleaning the river. And they got the eco tax. They're literally undoing the damage caused to the ecosystem, and they get an eco tax. And I think that this was meant to be a separate episode, and we maybe should discuss it in a separate episode. But right now, air quality in Serbia is no bueno. Like
No, it's like it's not even like unhealthy for sensitive groups. It's plain stay at home unhealthy.
It's unhealthy for non-undead groups. And like even if there was no corona, you would be like, hi.
Yeah, but with that mask that has like two,
8
filters,
layers
right?
and filters.
Yeah, exactly. Look. One thing about the
Oxygen tank
ecotext
on the back.
one thing about the ecotext that definitely stands out is, they 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 passed the bill, they passed the law, and they charge you retroactively for the entire year, and you're like,
For breathing.
like what? Like I had to pay for 2019 and for 2020, like in advance. But here's the thing, right? So I had to change my, type of organization from
Yeah.
entrepreneur into director slash owner of basically of an LLC.
Limited liability company.
Yeah, of an LLC. And you know what? I froze the entrepreneur agency. I froze it. I didn't close it. I froze it. So you know what? I
You
paid
got some
Ecotex.
taxes.
Yeah, I paid Ecotex for doing nothing. But look, it's
Even
not. This is not the end. B. There's more. Look, look, look. Hold on. This is it. So when you're opening up a company here, you basically, as a part of the process, you declare that you are or are not going to be using a stamp, like an
yeah.
official stamp.
Oh,
But
where's
look,
mine? I have it here in the drawer.
but look, look, look. For my entrepreneur agency, I had a stamp, which I was using. Okay. But when I
Mm-hmm.
opened up the new company, I declared I will not be doing business with a stamp. Stamp is a thing of the past, burn it with fire. So I get a call because my both of these companies are registered on my father's address because that's where my office is and that's
Yeah.
where it made sense. And it's in the same municipality, muni,
Municipality.
I have
I
to
only learned to spell and say that word once I got on this international project.
terrible
Municipality.
whatever.
It's like marsupial, except it is an organizational thing.
No, I can't. Like, I can't. I'll be using my own word for it. Anyways, so I get a call and like, hey, so there were like 3 deliveries for you, 3 letters, but they didn't want to give me one of them because they required a stamp, and I'm like, okay, and so they left a paper, like the post office, the guy left the paper, the postman, he left the paper, and I have to go pick it up. And I'm like, okay. So I come to the office and I grab the two letters I did receive, they were able to receive for me. Lo and behold, these are the letters, like the information for me on the how big the eco tax is and how to pay it for the entrepreneur agency, not for the new company. So look, and I'm like, okay, so I need to go there into the post office, me personally, and tell them I'm not using a stamp. And because the post office doesn't understand. But then how did they deliver the one that would in theory require a stamp? But okay, so I go to the post office and the queue is like 20 people, and I'm like, bye. and I never take it. I found it on the like the e version.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
like there's an interface with the government. Like thank God
Oh,
there's something.
oh,
Uh,
there's a story about that too.
of course, it's a very hackable, but you didn't hear that from me. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Not only that, I think it has some link to Google AdSense. So basically,
No, 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 no. I'll explain
okay,
that, babe.
okay,
I'll
okay,
explain that to you. But anyways,
okay, okay.
the point is everything about it, every every part of this society is filled with literal idiotic processes that simply don't work. Like things work by inertia. Sometimes somebody pushed this society forward, and somehow it's still rolling on its.
And I don't
You
know how
can't
it's
even call
rolling.
it wheels. You can't even call it wheels. But also, to be fair, the government did give us some more. It did help us some more during the first wave of the COVID pandemic. For businesses, there were some, like they sent funds to help finance the minimum wage part of people's salaries.
Yeah,
I mean there were conditions, like you couldn't decrease the number of employees in 2020, uh, which seems like a fair condition. But as you said, I'm not sure, how the government found ways to, cover the cost
yeah.
of these, packages. I mean, they were decent packages, and to be quite honest, we kind of donated uh, as a company. We just got the funds and donated as a company. Because if you guys saw how many kids in Serbia
Mm-hmm.
can't get treatment, And the way they get treatment, thank God, is there is a web portal we use. There is a service we send SMS messages, and they take it off our phone bill. And this is how these very unfortunate children and their parents do fundraising and actually get a chance at life. So it is a very sad story because this is a very sad country.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, uh, the reason we're the topic today completely leans on this topic 100%, because what they did in the beginning of end of 2019 and beginning of 2020, when they basically put a chokehold on the IT industry, that part of the IT industry here in Serbia was the legal part, meaning those are the people like myself who have registered an organization, who have been paying tax uh, and doing things by the book. Now the time has come for those who have been in the gray area, and
Oh,
they've named them freelancers. I mean, honestly, it's not a suitable term, because there's a lot of freelancers who just legally work.
yeah.
The thing about these types of freelancers is they've been getting cash uh, from, let's say, AdSense, like
Yeah.
YouTubers, for example. They've been getting cash from businesses abroad. They've been charging businesses abroad using intermediate services, such like, for example, Payoneer, and they've been
Mhm.
foolishly um, transferring that money onto their private accounts. And you know what? Every time, and I know this because I transferred some funds back in the day to my personal account, and the bank would always ask you to sign what is the purpose of you getting these funds. You can't get that money unless you sign like what the money is based on, so they know. And the government did what, be, because I know you kind of fall into this category. Maybe.
Uh, to be quite honest, I didn't really follow it through because due to the way I am paid on my international project, I actually do pay taxes on my freelance activities, but this isn't really the best way. The issue is that Serbian law practically has no notion of a foreign employer. That is
Yeah,
basically the issue, and you can't have working arrangements with a foreign employer, and that is where the whole issue is. Um,
exactly.
People were getting money here through freelancing, through services that were meant for foreigners to withdraw funds on ATM machines. And the way we would, well, some people would skip through this is that they would simply order a foreign card of Payoneer, for example, and they would simply withdraw money. And that wasn't, the best of practices. And now,
No, actually, that's not the problem.
no, 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 no,
People
no, no,
people
no,
who
no.
did that, they're pretty much in the clear, as far as I know.
Yeah, but that's the less of an issue. The bigger issue is that basically uh, it was very difficult to actually tax these funds because you had no legal document upon which these funds would be based. There would be no contract, no invoice, no nothing. So our government decided to change the law and to make freelancers as an accepted category, but it would come with a big asterisk, with a big caveat, with a big fine evil print that would essentially mean that they would have to retroactively pay taxes some 5 years, prior, which means that people in this very poor country would suddenly have to pay, I don't know, 10,000 euros or maybe 20, 30,000. I don't know exactly how much, but it's huge. It's huge. Like, and now what's the issue with that?
It's kind of on them.
Assuming, sorry?
Sorry for interrupting, but it is kind of on them because they all this time they did have a way to pay tax, and it was known how to, like, there's a taxation
Yeah.
law that is pretty clear. And it was, I honestly think for majority of these people, it was about, nobody's enforcing this, so I don't care.
No,
Like,
of course.
with all due respect, this is my opinion. I could be completely wrong,
Yeah, no.
but
That's okay.
nobody can say there was no way for me to pay taxes, because there was. Unfortunately, it was very tedious, and it still is. Like, every single income you get, just imagine somebody who has money dripping from a service. God forbid, every single income you get, you have to pay tax for that particular income. So it's not like, you get like income 5 times during a month, and then by end of the month, you go ahead and pay tax for all that income, or you do that quarterly, or you do that yearly. No, for every single income, meaning
Every
it
day
like
is the tax season.
like $2. You get $2 5 times during the day, and for all those every single income, you have to pay tax. So, like, it's ridiculous, but there was a way, and people have foolishly been accepting money onto their
Personal account.
personal bank accounts. But even more foolishly, people who have been using services like Payoneer, something's flying over here, they have been transferring that money onto their bank accounts because it was easy, like, money in the bank. On the other end, there were people who have just been using Payoneer and using the Payoneer card for paying on points of sale places like stores and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or they've been just grabbing cash from the ATM. As far as I know, they're in the clear because our government doesn't have any sort of a legal instrument to ask an American company to give them information. Like, there might be, if Serbia was a part of a certain international, how do you call that?
Organization.
I don't know.
Agreement.
Let's say agreement, yes. And if they were like, I don't know. I think it's not an easy thing to do. But I did hear of some very specific cases. Like, I did hear of a guy who literally bought a car using a Payoneer card, which was a very bad move because they backtracked every single interaction his card and name had with every single ATM and store in the country. So they kind of, they didn't need information from Payoneer. They just, it's like a gotcha.
They just shot him in the street.
Like, you don't buy a Mercedes with a Payoneer card. That's like a very, very, very bad move, because anything above 15,000 euros, I think, goes through a very specific process here because of this clause, this law about financing terrorism or something like that. So basically, every big I remember when I was buying a car, it was like, do we're gonna send your information to the central bank, and I'm like, what do you mean?
No.
Like send it. Like, I'm good. I only had like 3 incomes on my private account, and it was more than 5 years ago.
No, like buying a Mercedes for terrorism.
No, but imagine, like, just imagine somebody taking a Payoneer card and paying for a Mercedes. Just think about it. And to be
I
honest with you, to me, it's ridiculous that you can pay such a big amount just by doing this with your card. But then I remember getting a card of like a business card for the company, uh, getting it shipped here, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the paper. It's an American Express, I think. Yeah, it's Amex, and it's like $40,000. You can pull $40,000. I'm like, I'm putting this into the drawer, locking it up, and never taking it with me.
yeah, of course.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And it doesn't matter if you have $40,000 in your account. It's a credit card. So, anyways, I digress. Freelancers,
So
poor souls.
now there's an additional problem here that in Serbia, literally no one is really motivated to pay taxes. And there are multiple reasons for this. Now, when people say, why do people evade taxes? It's usually like, oh, they're wasting money, or, subcontext, I want to have more money. However, there are a couple of issues in Serbia. For example, when you pay your taxes, there are usually four points you pay. One is insurance in the case of unemployment. I have no idea what that is. It sort of sounds like they would pay you some sort of welfare if you're unemployed, but I don't think that happens.
No, I think you understood it wrong. It's tax for the unemployed. I think it's intended for the unemployed, not for you. It's not insurance. It's something you pay, like the bureau.
Yeah.
For the employment bureau, like that's how they are financed.
Okay. Then it's fine. Then it's fine.
You're paying, in theory, because like this trust me, it's not working. In theory, you're paying for the state, the country, I don't even know, to help the unemployed become employed, and to finance their when you're unemployed, you can also have health care in Serbia, right? So this is how that's paid for.
Yeah,
I think I could be completely wrong. It might be that the part of the funds that we give for healthcare goes to them, but again, I think that's it. Like, I can confirm it.
Okay, that is one of the reasons you pay, and this is usually the lowest amount. The next one is health. And this one hurts the most because, how should I put this gently? You don't want to go to the state healthcare here. Like, here, if you ever have the option, you will go to private practice, because state-run health centers and hospitals are decrepit. They're falling apart. They're not really horror movie level, but they're pretty bad. Like, when my dad had a surgery, there were cockroaches in his room, for example. There are images of food here in Serbian hospitals, and trust me, these images are true. There's usually comparison. What people in England get for breakfast in a hospital, in France, somewhere else, and in Serbia, and this is completely true. Like, this is what you will get. Oftentimes, hospitals don't have like some basic things like bandages or thermometers or something. And sometimes the family is asked to buy medicine or bandages or whatever, so that the staff could take care of your loved ones, So basically, you're paying,
You're like,
you're
hey,
giving money.
doctor, can I just pat you on your pocket?
Wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Here's a whiskey.
Here's a whiskey, and the whiskey is like the least bad of things. So basically, you're giving money for a system that's not really working, and you definitely don't plan on using if you're earning any sensible amount of money. So that's one.
Yeah, but
Then
outside of like, God forbid, some like big interventions, big
yeah.
surgeries, because that sometimes it's not in your power
Yeah.
to pay for. But the way, you have to do like some diagnostics, like an MRI.
Yeah.
You could be booked
Yeah.
6 months in advance. So it's not like,
Yeah.
I need an MRI. Okay, you're gonna do it in like next week. No, you get booked like next year, which is
The, there was this great picture of them putting a Egyptian sarcophagus in an MRI scanner, and there was a caption underneath it: "A Serb gets his turn finally on the scanner."
no, it's really it's very bad, and
Yeah.
that's what you're paying for with tax. By the way, you were right. It is called insurance in case of unemployment, but it's what I told you it is. I'm reading the
Okay.
law. I'm
Yeah.
reading the law. It's basically, I think the way they look at it is like, you're paying this in case you get unemployed because you're going to be using the services of the unemployed of the um, you know
Unemployment Bureau. Yeah. Okay.
is it employment bureau or forever unemployed bureau? I don't even
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Or is it
You
just
know,
hell? I don't really like,
no.
what's their
We
role.
usually joke here that the sole people Unemployment Bureau employs are workers in the Unemployment Bureau.
Look,
So,
there's the same thing in Sweden, for example, and I've been speaking
yeah.
with people who are working at that. I can't remember the name in Swedish, but that works. They actually find they actually find jobs for people and employ them. You know?
Well, they find you jobs here, but it's like, would you like to be an altar boy for a black mass? I'm like, no. But you have to accept it if you want to get the benefit. But I don't want to accept it. you
No,
know,
I don't know of a single person in person or through a proxy who has gotten a job by communicating with the employment bureau. Like, do you?
no.
Of course, because I'm telling you that that's not what they do. Like, I think what they do is basically their entire scope of work is basically somebody who's unemployed comes and says, I am unemployed and I need health insurance, and they put a stamp.
Wow. The return of the stamp.
But you know what? You and I have to pay for them to be able to, do that zombie work thing, and the tint for the stamp,
Yeah.
like ink. Sorry,
Yeah.
ink.
Okay. And
Ink.
we ink. Yeah. So we reach the third entry on our fallen tax system, and it's called the pension fund. This let me put it this way: during the last judgment, it would be guys, trust me, pay attention on the Serbian pension fund when the scroll starts opening, because a lot of crap will fall out of that. So what's the problem with pension funding in Serbia? I have to pay that pension fund, and it's basically mandatory. I cannot pay a private pension fund. Okay. So I cannot pay. So assume that I'm married, that I'm in a sinful gay marriage with them, and assume that I
Pick
am paying.
somebody else.
You're the only person I could think of right now. And assume that I croak, and I have been paying for this fund for God knows how many years, and it's gone. All that money is just gone, obliterated, you know. Assuming you survive up to your pension, the pension is really low. And the worst thing is that our ruling party has actually managed to reduce the pensions. So people think that it works like this. You give money to the pension fund, they keep your money, and when you're old, you're getting your money back. No.
You know, so
You
some
give
people
money.
also foolishly believe that the pension fund is actually a fund that is investing in multiple uh, and you know is generating some sort of a profit. But yeah, yeah. But also, I
No,
think you can invest into a private fund. But I think then there's
no,
some
no,
things.
you can, but you must invest into the state one too. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
and you must invest if it's a pension fund. You must invest basically until your very last day as a legitimate like
Yeah.
worker. Which is like ridiculous to me. If you're going to invest in a fund, find a freaking hedge fund or something and invest your money into it. Like in an investment fund. Investment fund, at least here, actually does something. There are investment funds here. Like I would personally do it if only I'd solved my like real estate.
Yeah.
I was gonna say appetite. Just like, what? That's not it. We just need a bigger apartment. But anyways, you can, but still, it's mandatory to pay for the.
Yeah.
I don't I don't know a single person who actually believes that any of us paying that now will actually see a dime from the said pension
Yeah.
fund. No way.
Uh,
Like
the
personally, I'm like no.
there were such thefts in that pension fund that the way it works now is you give money to it. You think that you're giving that they're saving your money, but no, they're using your money and they give it to current retired people. You know, and that is how it works. And of course, as it's case often in Serbia, because all of our politicians, both in power and in opposition, are entangled together through criminal ties. Um, there's never any punishment for any embezzlement. You know, uh, since the fall of Milosevic, our president, up to year 2000, uh, 2000, I don't think there was a single arrest of a politician. Even if there was, it was maybe like something like a murder or something, and even that I cannot remember. But there was never anything related to corruption, to embezzlement, to
No, this is
like
just like
people.
it's like a no-go.
Yeah,
And I like there were private lawsuits that you know got stuck in a drawer um,
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. So that is how things are. So the freelancers organized a protest. I actually attended the protest, even though these proposed changes don't really affect me, at least anymore, because I have a way of dealing with. I mean, I'm paying taxes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not evading them at all, and I always did pay them. But the issue is that this is the type of solution that would not work for absolute majority of freelancers. And I have to mention the investors. Right
Oh
now,
yeah,
I'm in the
but before you do that, you forgot something very very important about the freelancers now, because
yeah,
they have not recognized them as a specific category,
yeah,
but they're forcing them to pay everything backwards retroactively five
yeah, yeah,
years
yeah,
as if they've been recognized like that in the past 5 years. So basically, it's you never had healthcare, but you're gonna
yeah.
pay for it. So it's basically pay for 5 years of healthcare you were unable to use.
Crappy healthcare that you were unable
Oh
to use.
No, but yeah, but that's not a category. Like it's you know how you feel as a tax
Yeah.
paying
No,
citizen.
yeah.
You feel like shit. I apologize for saying, but that's exactly how I feel when I think about what I'm paying for, and especially when you think about the fact that taxes in Serbia are basically 58% of your gross income goes to all that. 58%. I'm letting it sink in right now.
Yeah.
58%.
Sometimes even higher.
Well, like this is base this is base tax.
Yeah,
If you're earning like a lot of money, for example, that would be, I think if you're earning like over, let's say 2,000 euros, which would be 24,000 euros monthly, sorry, yearly. If you're earning more than basically $30,000 US dollars on a yearly basis, you need to pay additional tax.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people from the United States, when they hear, 30,000 a year, that it doesn't feel impressive. But in Serbia, 30,000 US dollars a year is quite the
It's,
salary, and we're talking
yeah,
net, right? We're talking net,
yeah.
because gross that would be like 60 plus. Okay. Um,
I have to
yeah.
mention the investors
Mention
because
them. Mention them.
yeah.
By the way,
So
can I go grab some water?
oh, sure, go.
Would you mind? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, please.
You see?
Oh no, it's a poltergeist. So anyway, guys, during this project, I have to make an animation, and there's this guy that is an investor, and this is one slide. That is one frame of animation that I'm doing. It's completely related to the project, completely unrelated to religion for a change. And anyway, why are the investors problem here in Serbia? Here in Serbia, there are a lot of incentives that that are supposed to entice the investors to come to Serbia. Now, what I thought initially that these were like speedy licensing procedures, certain maybe some tax cuts and so on, but no, actually, what our government does is that the investor comes, he promises to employ, I don't know how many people, 100, 200, 300, and then our idiotic government actually gives them money. It gives them money in order to convince them to stay. And I'm not really certain how much this is true because I don't remember the source. It is simply
It's
somewhere.
true. It's 100% true. It's 100% true. And then they go out to the media and they're like, we have so many foreign investments. It's like we gave them the money. We paid for it.
Yeah, it's like it's actually like paying for yeah, it's like what's the translation for narikacha? I forget. There's a
You got me there.
like those professional mourners on a funeral that you actually pay for them to mourn you and wail, and I think there's a word for it in English, but I forgot what it was at the moment. It does not matter. The thing is, these people aren't really investors. They're there to impress your voting base. That's the problem. So if you give, and I've heard that the amounts given can be even up to 10,000 euros per employee.
Yes.
This literally means that each freelancer, because they employ themselves, save this country 10,000 euros at least. Plus, they draw literal money to your country, whereas investors
and spend it here. They spend it here. They spend it here because which means they're pouring this money into our economy. You know, the problem is they're not making it easier in any single way. And you know, all the grants and funds and as we call them, subventions, you know, you're never going to get them if you're not, you know, with the government. And you're basically like, you have so many obstacles, so many fees, so many taxes, like eco tax, and you don't get any help. You know, the bureaucracy is terrible. Anything you want to do, you're spending time and the money to get it done. Like recently they've introduced recently, meaning in the past maybe 5 years, they've introduced institution of notary, which is basically, you know, any more or less a lot of what you would consider legal documents between different parties, whether or not these are just persons or organizations. They have to be notarized. So now basically, you know, anything you want to do, you're going through multiple institutions. You can't do almost anything online. Like only recently they've introduced that you can do some things online, but it often doesn't work. So you're basically, go ahead.
No. Finish, and I need to. I want to talk a little bit about digitalization in this country, but finish with the note.
Yeah, we'll get there. But my point is, you get, and it's you know, the number of these things is constantly on the rise. You have obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and you don't really have an ecosystem here that would even try to motivate you to generate value. And that's the problem. You know, the problem is this entire society here is based on people who are literal parasites, 100%. Like all of our politicians that are currently in power, meaning they are in charge of certain institutions. Majority of them, they don't have a single working day in the economy or anywhere. Like they're professional politicians, and they get to be like managers of a government agency or a government institution or whatever, and they suck. They don't know anything. Like they're just plain bad, and their entire philosophy is to find people like us who generate value and get as much as they can from the value that they generate. Literal parasites. And you're completely demotivated to generate value. Let's say I want to launch a business in Serbia. My guys, you know what the first thing comes to mind when I get a very good idea? I'm like scared that the mob will come and just take it from me. Do you know that, B?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have ideas that I know if I go there, especially when I see the competition, like nothing. I know who's behind those companies, and I know what's next. Like somebody knocking at my door and being like, you know, starting today, you're gonna pay us 50% of everything you earn, or maybe it's gonna be 70%, or maybe it's gonna be starting today. You no longer have this company. You're gonna give it to me. Like I'm literally scared that something like that might happen. I would rather launch a business abroad 10 times than I would even 10 times easier than I'd even consider launching a business in Serbia.
That is why every time some of my friends has an idea of opening up a cafe or a restaurant, I'm like, don't.
No, like every IT person ever, they're either dreaming about producing organic like vegetables or something, or opening up a coffee shop. But like
No.
every time I hear that, I'm like, you don't want to go there, because I know people who own coffee shops in Serbia and Belgrade, and it's like you really don't want to go there. And the thing is, there's more. There's more. Like I'm a software guy, and any idea that I have is basically boils down to me building a piece of software, or I get me getting somebody to build a piece of software. But the point is, everything you want to do, everything's complicated. Let me give you an
Yeah.
example. You want to implement like a payment gateway. Basically, you want to have a business and charge people, with credit cards. That's super expensive, super hard, and the transaction fee that the banks locally charge are ridiculous. And you know what? You might not even get approved after like months. And you know how much unless I'm doing something which is uh, under a specific category like gambling or something. It's like 2 minutes for me to set up a payment gateway with like an Estonian company or in the United States. And that being said, like, do you know that if I want to run ads, for example, and pay for these digital ads through my company, I have to
Okay.
pay I have to pay a VAT on that. Like I'm paying money. Look. I'm paying money to Google to run my ads, and then everything that goes up, I have to pay additional tax to Serbia. So you know what everybody's doing? Paying with their personal credit cards. Because it doesn't make sense. It makes
Yeah.
0 sense. It makes 0 0 0 0 sense. So what I'm trying to say is there's so many obstacles put in front of you because all this entire parasitic society is doing everything in their power to grab the grab money from you. Just give me. Come on, give me. And if you're doing good, they're gonna be like, you're gonna give me your business, and I'm gonna like send the inspection, and they're gonna close you for like 15 days, and your business dies anyway. So take your pick. Sorry, it was a bit of a rant. I know.
Um,
Here's a cute doll. Hey,
by the way, this is a mentality that is omnipresent here in Serbia.
yeah,
And if anybody's
that's all.
curious why I don't have Bible illustrated in Serbian, that's the reason. Because I do not want to be exposed to this mentality in the church, and it is so present. I wanted to,
Unfortunately, because the church is like a reflection of
yeah,
the nation, and I'm sad to say that the nation that we've become predominantly is a very parasitic nation of people just waiting on somebody else to solve somebody else to generate value so that they can bathe uh, in
yeah.
the results. um, and
Uh,
that's how we got here in the first place, and that's why we're not going anywhere.
yeah. I wanted to comment on
So
digitalization because,
sorry, we're going to Germany. Sorry, predominantly we're going to Germany. It's not like we're
yeah,
not going
yeah.
anywhere. People go to Germany.
I wanted to comment on digitalization here in Serbia because it is one of those buzzwords that politicians and different directors of different state agencies love throwing around. I don't know any state-run digitalization of anything that was done well. I will list one example from one of my previous workplaces. I won't name which.
There's one.
So, sorry?
There is one. Just one. One.
No,
Just one. Yes.
no, no.
Getting a new passport or personal ID. It works. The only one. Just saying.
So, only one what?
Only one service that actually works, and it's the simplest
Oh,
service
yeah,
you can
yeah, yeah,
imagine.
yeah, yeah.
It's a booking service for you to book a time slot to go and get your new documents.
Okay, but did it work well always?
Of course not.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the booking service as well. However, it is for something different. I can't say what because I don't want to, to call out that place, but it was like this. The presentation of this booking service was done in live program. So the TV host says, can you please show us this great digitalization booking service that stops people from wasting their time in queues? So you basically just book your term, you come to the office and they do your thing. Yes, and I will demonstrate it to you. Okay, let's see. So she opens up the e-form. And I promise you, this is something out of Monty Python. So okay, so you pick up, you put where you live, so we would connect you to the proper service on territorial basis. So I will put my name, Jane Doe, and I work here, and I put there. Okay, okay. Then I list the reason why I want to book the term. So I will list it. So, okay. Okay, now I have filled up the form. I won't click OK, because if I did that, it would book the term, but it would mean that somebody else who probably needs a term for then won't be able to book it. So, and the TV host will, yeah, of course, naturally. So, but I will explain the procedure once you click OK. Once you click OK, a screen pops up that contains all the info of your booked term. Then what you need to do is to take your smartphone and take a pic and take a photo of that screen. And then when it is your turn to go for that term, you need to show them the picture of that pop-up, because their service we have developed isn't connected to the services. So those people in those buildings don't know that there's an actual term.
Idioti, čovječ.
You know,
I know.
I can only.
I know.
This was one of the funniest things I have ever seen in my life, and sometimes I think there's a reflection of my icons on the window, and sometimes I think like, who knows, and only he knows what God sees of these completely ridiculous situations. You know, this is something that I would have missed had I not worked.
Had I not
worked there, and and who knows what else there is out there. And I'm like, this is something out of a sketch, and I would be like, oh, come on,
no, it's laughable. No, it's laughable. Can I tell you how they try to charge a ridiculous amount of tax in the year 2019?
Please do.
So the way things worked is every month I would send an invoice and get income in United States dollars. Mm-hmm. Then, because you can't legally do any business with United States dollars, I have to convert it in our local currency, and of course pay the bank the conversion fee. Yeah. And then I would you get that money and transfer it to my personal bank account. I guess the amounts would vary based on the conversion rate, the invoice, the amount on the invoice, and the amount that I want to pull to my private account. So a blue envelope comes to my office, and it says, during the year 2018, you have realized this much income. I'm like, what? It's like, from my perspective then, it's like double what I earned, like literally double. And I had to write a formal complaint. You know what they did?
Oh.
They added the income in dollars, converted to dinars, and the income in dinars. Because they didn't. It's to them, it's not the same fund. It's like,
Okay,
well, you had this much income in United States dollars, and then you had this much income in Serbian dinars. So we logically we just added the two. Okay, but this is the same money circulating legally from one of my accounts to another of my account, legally paying commission to the bank for it. So what's wrong with you? And here's the thing: the law says if I complain, they have to respond within 30 days. But the law doesn't say what happens if they don't.
Oh yeah, that's standard. That's standard.
So they don't respond. And I'm like, and they have ordered me to start paying taxes, start doing bookkeeping. Like it's a whole package of ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And it took me 5 months. Once a month, I would go and basically beg for the lady in the tax, in our version of IRS. I would beg her to just tell me what, like, just solve that for me. How did she solve it? And I think I might have spoken about this before in one of our episodes, but the final, like the final solution for me was, and when you go there, actually it's like you enter their office, and it's like three women on desks. Every desk has a computer, like a monitor, a mini PC, and a keyboard, and two stacks of paper, and behind them is like racks and racks where paper just wants to burst out of it, literally. And she's like the way I solved it is like she was like, I'm like, please, this is the fifth time. I have two kids. Like, please tell me what to do. And she's like, she takes a sticky note, like a post-it. What's your name? And I was, okay, the company, okay, sure. Pay tax normally. Half, puts it on the monitor. Don't worry about it. That's how it was solved. And sometimes later, meaning maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months later, I actually get the paper that confirms that. So it's ridiculous. It's like that.
Man, maybe we're crazy. Maybe we never really understood that if you go to exchange office, you actually get to keep the money that you gave for exchanging.
I mean, and to be honest with you, the only way I've discovered that's how they got to that number, because I started calculating things left and right. Somebody else had the same problem, and I caught a glimpse of a conversation between people with somebody. And the thing is, it's all individual. It's up to the person, whoever is in charge of my company there. Like if she/he makes a mistake, that's like, and the weight of proof, of gathering proof, is on me, as opposed to being on the state. It's completely reverse. It's like Alice in Wonderland stuff. It's completely reverse. Like, are you kidding me? You want me to pay more? Prove to me that I need to pay more, and I'll pay you more. But no, for them, it's like, look, we are ordering you to pay more. If you don't like it, complain. that's the process. And then I complain, and I have to provide the documentation. I've paid money, man. I have to pull like physical documents from the bank to prove what my income was. I had to print ridiculous amount of invoices. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is that great tweet about IRS, as in, pay taxes. How much? We're not going to tell you. We don't know. You have to pay them. You have to calculate. Okay, then I simply won't pay if you don't tell me how much to pay. No. If you lie about how much you need to pay, we will put you in prison.
B, do you remember pay taxes or else? You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let me just briefly remind you, just because of the ridiculousness of it,
Yeah.
that's very much in line with what we're talking about now. So I opened up a new company. Turns out when they did their calculations, there was a bit of a debt in terms of paying tax for my previous company. So they're sending me this finely written email, which is down the lines of, you're in debt. If you don't pay and reach out to me in the next 5 days, we're going to block your new company, which is like beats the whole purpose of having a limited liability company. If you're like, well, you owe money with another company, so we're going to block your limited liability company. Whoa, bravo. And you know what? You know what the debt was? You ready?
I bet it was something like 20 dinners or something.
No, 400 and something, which is like $20. For like no, it's $4. My apologies. It's like $4.
It's like two
Or United
coffees
States.
here in Serbia. What was their
Plati
signature in the
porez,
mail?
plati porez da ti se dobro vrati. It's like pay taxes, so good will return back to you. You'll be rewarded with goodness or something like that.
Yeah, and I simply changed it. He sent me a screenshot of it, and I simply changed it: pay taxes or else.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it would be easy for me to find that email, but it was like it was the
No, it was bad. But I also liked it. Like you know, when they send you an email, they would give you some ridiculous deadline of like 3 days. Like, guys, maybe I
yeah.
owe so much money that I can't withdraw that much money in 3 days, or maybe I even don't have it, and they need to borrow.
Yeah, but also, it was sent to me by a person from the
Mhm.
from the quote unquote IRS without any signature that would explain who that person is, to what
Yeah.
set to and it said, like it literally said call me, and there was no number. So it's the most, and you know what, it was half Cyrillic and half Latinic as well. So you know
Uh, the dark design of Serbian tax system.
it's just ridiculous. It's not bad. It's ridiculous. It's you don't believe that it works. And you know what? When I open up my, it's literally a freelancing agency,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But let's call it entrepreneur. When I opened that up in 2015, I didn't get a legal piece of paper that would explain to me how and how much I need to pay. I only gotten that in 2018, for 3 years back. So though during those 3 years, I wasn't even able to use the health services. And you know what? I still had to pay for them.
What a happy note to end this. Guys, IRS is horrible, but there are horribler things out there.
Yeah, of course. Um, so tomorrow is uh, uh, the day of the cross. Can I call it like that?
Amen. Sorry?
Can I call it like that? The day of the cross?
I think I don't know. I know what it's called in English. It's not Day of the Cross. It is.
Of course,
I
it's
think
not.
it's like the four feast of the Theophany.
You know, you look like your eyes are gonna just close and you're gonna start snoring.
Yes. Today was a busy day.
Was cool.
Yeah, but very productive. I'm
Yeah.
really making. Sorry?
No, go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm doing the best of this year that I can, and I'm very happy about
Well, I think this was I don't know how long, but the entire episode was a rant.
it. And
Like,
these are the best.
we didn't say anything entertaining. We mentioned the church, but in a very negative context. And you know,
Pay taxes, guys.
yeah, it's not cool not to pay tax, but it's also not cool that some taxes are so high and you get nothing. You really
I
get
don't
all you
know.
get is frustration.
Yeah, I don't know why that bureaucracy is just so complicated. Is there any way to make it easier? I don't know.
No, because it would actually require for people to spend money solving the problem, and they want to not spend money. They want to take that money for themselves. I mean, it's
True.
very easy. It's very easy. I'm 100% sure there's not a single project, a public project here that doesn't fuel funds somewhere else.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just
That's
let's
that.
just dilute them into people's pockets through God only knows which offshore accounts or whatnot. Like all of this, and this is my favorite. This is what I like to end on. All of this with the freelancers, with the people who have been getting money on their accounts and haven't been paying tax. All of this after our minister of defense, by the way, quite an obvious idiot. Like you look at the guy and he's like, this is an idiot. Right after he was asked by some and government anti-corruption agency, how did you pay for your apartment? The apartment was something around 200,000 euros was the cost of the apartment. And he literally publicly stated that his aunt from Germany sent him this money, or from Canada. I don't
From
remember.
Canada.
Yes.
And
And
no,
you
no,
know what?
and
She was sending it, she didn't send it all at once. She was sending uh, in small
uh,
pieces.
no, no, no. He was going to her place, and then each time he would return, he would bring an amount. Which and these were amounts that he was obliged to actually
Report.
certify with local tax and custom authorities. So,
So yeah, he is a public figure, a member of the ruling party, idiot, also minister of defense, idiot, and he can get away with practically anything. And this is like one out of God only knows how many things he quote unquote got caught
yeah,
with. So like, but if you're a freelancer earning maybe 500 euros a month, uh, you're gonna pay tax 5 years retroactively if you, by any chance, didn't. So yeah.
it's horrible, horrible.
But on a positive note, no, there are no positive notes.
I was about to say that.
Okay. Anybody who doesn't like the fact that we ranted for an entire episode, I personally apologize.
I get fun.
I know. That's why I said I apologize, because I know you don't you know it will be hypocritical of you to actually do it.
Of course, I try, guys.
So
Thanks so much for
bye.
joining us. Thanks so much for joining us. Pay your
Pay
taxes
taxes.
if you
And
know
if you're a
how.
freelancer in Serbia, be a bit wiser next time. Don't get money to your personal bank account.
Yeah, and that's it. Hunt fish, and that fish just might contain that tax amount.
Yeah, but if somebody sees the clock in the back, but I think I'm gonna cut it out. The time is wrong.
I can tell it's been annoying me since the
Yeah,
episode
was it?
started.
Was it?
No, no, I was like, what time is that clock showing anyway?
It's a Chinese clock. It's a Chinese clock, and I bought it, and it has a problem with the cable. So you flick it
Yeah.
accidentally, and it loses contact, and it just poof resets everything, which is the date, the time, the brightness level setting, everything. It just resets. It's like, let's start over. And you're like, those old clocks, you have to like find
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the menu item. You
Mhm.
have to hold it for some time and then
Yeah.
click another button to find the setting you want to change, and then click on it. I feel
And
like
it
it's the
probably
90s
has
again.
70 minutes per hour.
No, it's not. No, it's a cool little, like I'm gonna go and buy four more of them and put them everywhere in the apartment.
Okay, that's OCD nightmare.
Yeah, I'm gonna solve the cable thing. I'm an engineer. No, I'm not that kind of engineer, but I'll figure it out.
Bye.
Bye. Bye now.
Bye.